few more joining you. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, we look like we got majority of people on, so we'll start if that's okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. For those that don't know me, I'm John Evans, the CEO of Enablis, and it's I guess thanks again for coming to today's webinar. Probably really hopefully to find out quite a lot more about the enhanced Microsoft Teams calling capabilities with Anywhere 365. I guess as many of you probably aware, we have quite a lot of, we've been doing voice services for clients for quite a number of years. We've got quite a few thousand users that have telephony of some flavor, mostly on other PABX sort of platforms. And I think it's fair to say a lot of the marketplace are looking to try and maximize the potential investment that they have already with Microsoft Teams to create enhanced calling capability, contact center, and we mustn't forget the obvious reception console importance, because particularly for a lot of our clients, as many of you are aware, probably on this call today,
time component will be building.
Microsoft. Actually, sorry, could someone just check their mute, please? Thank you. Microsoft Teams calling in its own format is pretty much vanilla telephony. It's almost dial tone, and so on any sort of a migration path to a more robust and capable platform, certainly including contact center capability and reception console and those sort of things, we've decided to partner with Anywhere 365, and they really have been sort of labeled as the first certified partner to do direct routing with Microsoft Teams, and they've been clearly labeled as a Gartner leader in this quadrant. So it's great to have them on the demo today. With that, I would like to just probably introduce, and I'll hand over then to Gideon Klipstein, who is going to probably spend 15 or so minutes just explaining a bit more about Anywhere 365, and then walk through a bit of a demonstration on the contact center piece. And then we're going to be followed up by one of his colleagues, Tim Field, who's also going to explain the reception console that's just recently been launched. Probably one of the big areas that we've seen is most of our clients do have reception needs, and so this sort of relatively new offering is really something I think a lot of people on the call today will be looking to understand more about, to see if it can fulfill and allow obviously people to move to that single platform and have a one unified collaboration tool that can be used right across the business for simple and complex requirements. So without further ado, if I can, I'll hand over to Gideon. Just ahead of that, we will have a Q&A section at the end. So if you do have time to stay on, we'll just open the mic, I guess, to anyone to ask any further questions if they haven't seen aspects during the demonstration. So thanks again for joining. I hope you find it really insightful. And Gideon, if I can hand over to you, please.
Most definitely. Thanks a lot, John, and thanks for the intro. And yeah, obviously very happy with having Enablis being one of our preferred partners in Australia, supporting us, and being able to spread the message of Anywhere 365 with your clients throughout the country. Let me just share this. I'll handle a couple of slides before moving towards a short live demo. Obviously, giving you a flavor of the Anywhere 365 contact center and capabilities. So everything we do is, let's say, enterprise dialogue management, and we do that from basically any place around the world. Obviously, everybody can work from wherever nowadays, and that's the main proposition that we also support. We have cloud availability throughout the world with our solution being hosted in Azure. Currently, we host in Singapore for the wider APAC region, but we're working on setting up also a Azure instance in Australia. Sorry. What is very important to note is that we are Microsoft certified. We have actually been the first contact center to be officially Microsoft certified, but not just being certified, but also really using and leveraging the full Microsoft stack. Obviously, we use Teams to route calls to as a main client. However, we also use Azure services. We use SharePoint for the configuration. We use an SQL database in Azure as well, which will be hosted by our clients themselves or managed by the clients themselves for full data retention policies to enable efficient management of your data. And last but not least, we even use Power BI for the reporting, which is hugely powerful, really gives you all the right insights into your data. So combining all those capabilities, I think we've got a quite unique platform for contact center enablement. Also, we have a support team in Perth. So that's obviously already foot on the ground in Australia, and we're working on getting more people onboarded inside Australia, also for project leads and a business development manager locally. We've got over 1,800 clients nowadays, and in more than 60 countries where they're residing in. As you can see, we've already got quite a bit of big labels in terms of references. In Australia, some of the bigger names that we've closed are the Blackmores Group, which is a pharmaceutical company, Rabobank, which is a Dutch bank, but we're serving them actually both in the Netherlands as well as in Australia, and the Kangan Institute, which is part of TAFE. And obviously, some of the bigger logos that you see down there. So everything we do is around the routing, recording, and reporting of communication. And I say that rather than just calls, because Anywhere 365 is an omni-channel dialogue management platform, being able to route not just calls, but also messaging from, for instance, emails, WhatsApp, social media messaging, and SMS, for instance. So we are really able to be a full, let's say, platform for enablement of all your communication and engaging with all your clients through that single platform. Also, the attendant console, as John already mentioned, is the newest addition to our stack, and really allows you to handle all the communication within your company, from even the front end up into the final handling of in-depth communication. Also, we allow you to use advanced features, as we call it, such as AI tools, being able to integrate these through our API platform called the Dialogue Studio, which we can do, for instance, voice bots, chat bots, sentiment analysis, and transcription services. And there's really a lot of ways how this can enable you to get more efficient in the way that you're handling your communication. Now, basically, everything that we add in terms of functionality to Teams is listed here. And obviously, I can't show you everything in just the 15 minutes that I have today during this webinar. We'd be happy to schedule any type of follow-up calls or presentations, but I'm just going to be showing you, let's say, the agent interface, how we route a call in an advanced way, and show you some of the reporting. But as you can see, also we have, for instance, a CRM integrated web agent. We can handle any supervisor functionality, such as listening, whispering, and taking over calls. We've got ability to integrate with workforce management solutions. So there's really a lot of possibilities here to work with. But now let's just take you to a short demo in which I can show you the agent interface. And after that, I will be doing a little call also with a voice bot integrated to give you a bit of an idea of what that would look like. I'm just opening up my VM, and here we see that we've got Teams. This should look like your regular Teams. Obviously, you've got your chat, you've got your calls. And what we have here on the left side of the reel is our web agent. This is just one of the different web agents that we have. We could also have this integrated inside a CRM system, which we have for the most dominant CRM solutions, such as Dynamics, Salesforce, and SAP C4C. And if I just click on this, this will now log in and give me the functionality that I'm after as a contact center agent. So this will do an automatic sign-in. And while I'm here, I can see that I'm available as a user, this means that also I, as a contact center agent, am available. I've got some different types of profiles right here. So I can see I've been added as an agent or even as a supervisor / agent to all these different queues over here. Now, let me just make a call right now to this number. We'll see it coming in right here.
Hello, Gideon. Welcome to our contact center. How can we help you today?
What are your opening hours?
Our business hours are 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Are you running any promotions?
Yes, we have free trials available and other discount options. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Do you have any parking available? Well, apparently no parking available today. Let me just try that again.
Our contact center. How can we help you today?
I'd just like to speak to my account manager, please.
It looks like you need to speak to sales. We will route you to your account manager if they are available. One moment, please. Gideon will be with you shortly.
Well, let's see. I can see that I'm getting this toast because I am the preferred account manager here.
Gideon will be with you shortly.
And if I just pick up that call, I can see my regular Teams call will be enabled. And I see that I have a lot of information here on my screen as a contact center agent. Let me just click that away. Now, what do we see here from left to right? Firstly, we see that we have a CRM contact here. So this information is all coming directly from my Microsoft Dynamics CRM system. So I can see who am I dealing with, what's his name, and I can even look into any cases that I have for this user. Moreover, I can see who else he's been speaking with, which is one of my other colleagues. And I can just go to my CRM environment if I would click on this number, click on this link. Then what we see here, I've got call recording enabled. This is a standard feature which has no additional cost to it. I can even just pause the recording like this if I maybe am handling a payment. So just for compliance purposes, just pausing that call and then moving towards recording again once that's handled. Down here, I can see that I've got a full timeline and I can look into previous communications. So that missed call that I just made was already noted here. I've got an incoming call earlier this morning where I see I chose for this skill, had a queue time of 11 seconds. This agent followed up with a talking time of 1 minute 25 seconds. Call was then hung up and a quality monitor was issued with a 5-star rating. And I can also look into these different types of communication that I've had in the past. So this was an incoming text, and I can see that my colleague John Quell then handled it. I can also see that he's available. So if I would have to engage with him, because maybe this person's asking to speak again with an agent that was also handling his previous messages, that's all able. Also, we can put a call on hold here, but I can also just take one of my colleagues here to join in this call. So maybe my colleague Robin for this consultative or a delayed transfer. Obviously, we've also over here, so I can transfer a call, maybe ask for my colleague Alex. And I can see he's able here, and I can have all these different types of options to do the transfer. Now, as mentioned, we're an omni-channel system, so we can also look into messages that were sent in the past. So maybe this person calling in tells me that he's sent a message about licenses in the past. I can just search for that and find this message and look at it like this and see that there was a message sent by my colleague, Sander Rothheisen, and we've got a license model link here. So you can see everything's just at hand within one single screen, all these different types of communication methods. Now, if I would just finish this call and hang it up,
Please rate your opinion about Anywhere 365 from 1 to 5.
Well, I'm getting a quality monitor. I'm very happy about this. I'm giving 5
Thanks
stars.
for your positive feedback.
And it recognizes my positive feedback. Now what I do, I can simply end this conversation while I've got my wrap-up time here, and I can say that this was maybe a prospect calling in to classify that call, and these are all things that can be reported to in our Power BI reporting. Now let's show you that reporting actually. Now what we see here, and this is a Power BI report, and I can see that I've got a number of different types of reports listed on the left side of my pane. These are all standard reporting templates that will deploy in your own Power BI tenant. And these will be looking in or dipping into the data that's managed by yourself and hosted in Azure. What we can see here is we've got a dashboard with, for instance, the amount of accepted and missed calls. I can see full dialogue volume. I can see the volume per modality. I can see the performance of the most used skills. Now, if I want to get more specific, for instance, for one of my queues, which we call a UCC, so a Unified Contact Center, I'll just click on my UCC report, which will then open the UCC that I've chosen by means of these filters down here. This is showing my colleague Alex's UCC, but if I want to clear this one, and I just want to focus on my own, I'll just choose for Gideon's UCC. And I can see immediately all the KPIs are changing. I can see a different type of heat map coming up, and I can see that most calls are being put in on a Monday at 4 because I had 20 calls this past time. Also, I can see I've got a contact report. So for instance, if I'm working with a client who is not happy about anything that's happened with service-wise, I can just look at the contact report, see what's happened with the different calls and messages that he's or she sent, what kind of skills were chosen, and what was the user rating. If I want to get more visibility in the performance of my colleagues, I can also focus on an agent report. So I can just look at which agents have been putting in how many calls. I've got a full list over here. And for instance, if I want to focus on my colleague Ken, I can just filter him out. If I press his name, all these KPIs will change again, and I can see how many calls he's made, how many he's missed, how his SLA has been doing, and what his acceptance rate is. Now, for a full overview of all the dialogues that we've had in the full contact center, I can just go to my dialogue overview and really look at all the different details that I have. So let's just start from the top. I've got a call that was put in yesterday, so Wednesday, the 16th of June. Every call's got a unique identifier, so that's a correlation ID that we see here. We can see what kind of modality it was. It was an accepted call. It was inbound, made to Mike's UCC. He had a music skill chosen. Start time was 7:03, and the queue time was 10 seconds, then with a talk time of 1 minute and 12 seconds. Mike was also the agent, and this was the contact that was calling in. You can then also see the recording. So if I just click on this recording, it'll download the recording immediately, and I can then listen to it. Now, if this detail is not enough for me yet, I can even drill further down to the really deepest detail of the dialogue. And that will show me all the state changes from the moment that the call came into the SBC, so the session border controller, up until the moment that the call was disconnected. So I can see that the call was received, was an incoming call, then was changed to in IVR. The skill that was chosen was music. The queue position was 0, etc., etc. The agent accepted the call. The hunting was stopped. The coding was enabled. Then eventually coding was stopped. Customer hung up. The call was ended, and the recording was shared to the SharePoint site. Now, all that information is available. And if there would be any type of error during a call, or maybe somebody would hang up, we could see here in these state changes, what's went wrong, and how can we fix that? Or maybe it was just a customer that was not happy and hung up. All that information is available, and I think this really provides you a dramatic amount of insight in your contact center's performance. That's it for now on the contact center piece. I would like to hand over to my colleague Tim, who will be now presenting you and showing you something of the Anywhere 365 attendant console. Take it away, Tim.
Thanks, Gideon. That was a nice presentation there. Let me share my screen.
Sorry, I was a bit late, but when do we ask questions?
We'll hold a Q&A just at the end after Tim's piece now, probably in the next 10, 15 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Sorry, I was a bit 5 minutes late, so I missed that.
No problems at all.
Okay, so I think, good afternoon, guys. I think from a presentation perspective, I think the only slide that I'd really like to show after we've already had an introduction to the company is this one, just giving a little bit of the back end on how our attendant console integrates with the existing Microsoft Teams platform. Effectively just giving a very brief overview. The call will come into the SBC. Once it's delivered to the SBC, it will be presented to the Microsoft Teams environment, utilizing some of the APIs already existing within Microsoft Teams, such as the calling API and the graph API. And there is a connection between the Teams environment and our cloud, the Anywhere 365 cloud, which sits, as Gideon said, within Azure. So it just gives you an idea on that call flow coming through into the system. We have some more in detail diagrams that we can share after the call as well, if you'd like to go into a little bit more detail. Jumping over to the console itself. The way. So this is the Anywhere 365 attendant console for Teams. As you can see, we have the icon embedded into the rail within Microsoft Teams. So an operator has the ability to run the attendant console from within Microsoft Teams itself. We also have the ability to pop the application outside of Teams too. So depending on the personal preference of the operator, you can run this as part of Teams. However, I think from early feedback, most people prefer to pop the application outside of Teams, and then you can have one window dedicated to the attendant console, whereas the other window can be dedicated towards your chat and calendar functionality. But again, this is down to the personal preference of the operator. The sign-in process is also done as a single sign-on. So effectively, once the operator logs into their Microsoft Teams client, that gives them the ability to automatically log into the attendant console. It does mean that we need one license per user, so per named user, because each person logging into Teams will require a license if you need to log that user into the attendant. However, it does also mean that login process is completed within your own Teams environment. So we are not storing any personal details such as passwords within the cloud, within our cloud. So effectively, we are fully GDPR compliant. Once you've logged into the system, if I give us an overview of the screen itself, in the top left-hand corner here, we have our conversation panel. So this is effectively our queuing area, where an operator can monitor a single or multiple queues that are being presented to this particular operator. Each queue can have its own welcome message or greeting message, maybe an IVR that you'd like to apply to the queue. Again, voice recognized as well as we've demonstrated earlier. And each queue can have its own opening times and simple process linking to either a single or team of operators. Once the call has been answered, obviously we have access to the corporate directory, the corporate telephone directory. And this is basically consisted of all of the users from Azure AD. So rather than, again, importing users into our directory within our cloud, we give the operators the ability to do a live search within the Azure AD environment. So again, retaining that data within your own customer Azure platform. The search facility itself is a very simple, easy way to look up users. So we can search on first name, we can search on last name, number, email address, You may have someone call through and say, oh, I spoke to someone, I think his name was Mark. I believe he was in the development department. We do a simple search for Mark Dev, and that'll bring up everybody with the name of Mark who works in the development department. So again, even if the caller doesn't have the full details of the person we're trying to locate, the operator should have enough information to be able to find the person that we're looking for. We can also present pictures of people that we are pulling again from Azure AD, so we know exactly who it is that we are speaking to. We also have presence information coming directly from the Microsoft Graph API, so effectively Microsoft Teams. So we can see before even transferring a call through to that user, whether they're available or away from their desk. The idea behind it is, let's not transfer the call to somebody who's away. We can offer alternative methods. We don't want to create failed transfers or transactions that are not going to be answered. So the operator can then suggest alternative paths to be able to then direct that call more efficiently. So this is live information pulled from Microsoft Teams. We also have contact notes. So the operator has the ability to add additional notes against a contact through the directory, such as Johan is off on Fridays, Tim works from home on a Tuesday, please announce all calls. It's a nice way of operators being able to share local knowledge between the team. So if operator 1 adds a note to the system, every operator can see that note, and then every operator can delete or amend that note. So it's a nice way, as I say, of sharing local information, especially if there's a higher turnover of staff, or if you have temps covering at certain points of day, they may not know who they have to announce the calls to, but by adding this note, you can share that data between the team. And then finally on the directory, we also have the ability of the operator creating a favorite list. So we can add these little star icons against some of our users within the directory, and each operator can create their own favorite list. And then if we click on the favorite tab here, it will just show our favorite list. So the idea behind this, users are constantly being transferred to. When a call comes in, rather than having to search for these users, you can just click on your star icon, knowing that that user is part of your favorite list. The operator also has the ability to add contacts to the directory as well. As I say, the bulk of the directory will be coming from Azure AD, but the operator also has the ability to add personal contacts to that directory if they wanted to add additional information that's not already available. If we highlight one of our users, we have any additional information that we have stored, again, coming from Azure AD. So this could be other information such as email address or mobile number, department, function, organization, location, etc. This was all, again, populated automatically from Azure AD. And then we also have a live view of the person's calendar. So again, using the example, if a call comes through asking for Sebastian, we can see he's away. We can say, oh, he is away, he's on annual leave this week. Can I put you through to somebody else in that department? Or he's in a meeting, it should finish in 10 minutes, please call back shortly, and we'll be able to redirect the call to him. So again, the whole idea is we've got a good understanding of the user's reachability or obtainability before trying to place that call into the system. And again, we have these little icons here, which allows us to add the user to the favorite list. As you can see here, the stars disappeared and reappeared. And then we can also add the note as well. So we can easily maintain and modify these existing notes. If a call comes through and the caller is asking to be put through to a number that's not part of the directory, the operator also has the ability to manually add numbers as well by just entering the number into the dial pad. So that covers the queues, the directory, the reachability. The last section of the screen is the home page. So effectively, the home page is a way of allowing the operator to create their own workspace. So it's a way of personalizing our installation to fit each customer's needs. So if we, for example, add what we call a widget, but effectively an application that sits within the homepage, I can show you how you can build up this environment to your own requirements. So here I've just added a Twitter widget. So effectively, if a call comes through to a customer, hello, I've just seen on Twitter you've released information about a promotion or a job that you have available. The operator says, oh yes, I can see the one you're referring to. Let me put you through to the manager of that department. So it's a nice way of being able to provide context to the operator to handle that call more efficiently. This is just one example of some of the widgets that we can configure, but we have history widgets called history, so you can show all of the calls that have come through to the switchboard. You can add web pages. that one in there. And we can even add integration on other platforms as well. So that, for example. So I've just added a couple of widgets here, so you can see how easy and quick it is to set up widgets within that environment. So there was a typo in there, bear with me. Yes. So now we are monitoring, say, the sounds queue. So if a call comes through to the switchboard, hello, can you put me through to sales? You can actually look at the wallboard or the web wallboard that's created from our dialog cloud. And we can say, oh, yes, I can see there's a 12-minute wait time on our sales queue at the moment. Are you happy to wait? Oh, no, I'm in a bit of a rush. Can you ask someone to call me back? So you can, I mean, this is now a link to our website, but effectively you could schedule a demo from the website and you can say, yeah, no problem. Can I take your details, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I've put in a request. Someone will contact you back at your next convenience to arrange a demo. So these are just other examples on how you can look to integrate other applications or other widgets to be able to enhance that functionality of the switchboard. Other examples could be things such as Google Maps, Stock Exchange, ticketing system, flight schedules. Effectively, we've got an open API which allows us to connect to pretty much any third-party application. So it does give that level of flexibility when trying to design your own workspace. I think another one important to mention is CRM integration as well. So we have the ability to dip into CRM such as Dynamics, Salesforce, SAP. So if a call comes through to the switchboard, we can present information that we're pulling directly from the Dynamics system itself and the CRM system. So we may wish to display all of the open tickets or invoices or cases relating to that particular caller. So it's a nice way of, again, being able to provide as much information to the operator, all within a single pane of glass. So that gives us a nice overview of the screen. I'm just going to pop in a couple of calls. So again, I won't demo the functionality that Gideon has already demoed, but again, we have the ability to provide a similar service. I'd like to speak to the receptionist or to an operator, and the call will automatically be directed to our queue here. As we can see, we recognize the caller. So we can see this is Tim Mobile, the mobile number I'm calling from, and the call has entered the Anywhere 365 external queue, which we can see in a couple of places, and we can see how many calls are in the queue, for instance, as well. If you have multiple operators, the call is presented to all of the operators at the same time. So my Teams client is not currently ringing, but every operator can then see this call, and we can set up audio alerts so that the operator is aware of the call is available or is present. And then to answer the call, we can click on the send the call to me icon or the accept call. At this point, the Teams client rings, so we can then answer the call within Teams. That seems to be the preference at the moment. There is a way of disabling that additional call feature as well. So you could effectively click answer one time, and that then answers the call without the need to answer the call within Teams as well. So again, that's down to the personal preference. Once the call is answered, we can see here again any additional information that we have stored about the call. Effectively now, once the call is answered, we have simple, easy ways of being able to transfer to another caller within the company. So if the call comes in, I'd like to speak to Tim, we can just do a simple drag and drop. And that's now sent the call blindly to, and as a blind transfer to my additional user. So again, very, very easy, fast ways of transferring the calls across the system. I'll pop in another call now. So the call's been answered again. Rather than doing a drag and drop, you can also, if you hover over our users, you can see the transfer icon here. If you highlight the transfer, if you select the transfer icon, again, that would do a blind transfer. So it's a single click transfer, one click, sends the call, move on to the next one. So it's all about speed, efficiency, trying to deal with the call as fast as possible to then allow the operator to move on to the next call. If a call comes through to Sebastian, say, for instance, and you can see he's away from his desk, we showed you about the option of being able to check the calendar, but effectively we can also then send an email as well. So if we click on the email icon, we create an email automatically to Sebastian. Please call back Tim Mobile. This is the number I'm calling from. It adds the information of the operator handling the call, and there's a little area for subjects. You may wish to add some information there regarding invoice, send. So it's, again, very fast way of sending a missed call alert to somebody who is unavailable to answer that call at the moment. So he'll receive an email at a time, the date that the call arrived, and obviously the phone number to call back on, most importantly. So again, that's a nice, easy way of sending a missed call alert. And then finally, we have the option to do an announced transfer or a warm transfer as well. So if I click on the call icon instead of the blind transfer icon, it puts my initial caller on hold. We'll receive a bit of music there. We're now making an outbound call to my recipient, which I will answer. I'll probably get a little bit of feedback. Feedback. Sorry about that, a nice bit of echo. We're now speaking to my recipient. Hello, I've got a call on the line. Would you like to accept it? They can either cancel and go back to the initial caller, or we can then click transfer, and that will send the call to that user as well. So again, nice single click, nice easy process to be able to then handle that call and transfer it based on the relevant preference, whether it's an announced or a blind transfer, to the recipient as fast as possible.
Great, Tim. Just conscious of time, I think probably want to also keep some minutes left for Q&A. Could you please wrap up?
Yeah, I've only got literally about 30 seconds left.
Okay, great.
That's all good, thank you. So the last couple of things worth mentioning is it's all compatible with touchscreen, mouse and keyboard. As it's a web-based console integrated into Teams, we can use it on any device, so it gives you that flexibility of running it from anywhere in the world. And the last thing worth mentioning is we have a number of different languages, phone settings, and even layouts as well. So we can change the view of the screen to have a larger queue area, a larger directory, or if you are using it on a smaller screen, we can look for an even more simplistic view and go for just the queuing area and the directory. So just trying to simplify that based on the user preferences. So I think that covers everything from the attendant console side of things. I think the important aspects. So I think it'll be a good time to move over to questions.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Yeah, super. Thank you for that. That's both Gideon and Tim. I think it was great. I guess it takes a reception console, attendant console to a whole new level. Pretty impressive. I guess I'd just open it. I'd like to open it to anyone on the line, please. Just check your mute button.
Yep. Okay. Just a couple of questions. I'll make it very quick. The attendant console supports multiple receptionists, obviously.
Yes, absolutely. There's no upper.
And which same question for contact center as well. So the queuing or who gets the first call is a different option for round robin or skills, yes, or stuff for both of them.
Definitely, and you can combine them. So we've got advanced routing through skills, for instance, and then within the skill you can choose whether you're using a round robin or a longest idle or whatever type of queuing method.
And eavesdropping for training, supervisor listening, is got that as well option?
Yeah, that's definitely enabled. So you can indeed listen in, whisper to agents, and also take over or barging calls. Yeah.
Does it have any option for screen capturing?
Yes, we do. That's also enabled through that same tool that we use for all the supervisor options. So it's definitely something that we can do.
Okay, and with the attendant console, when you can select, assume the staff has got multiple telephones, which are on AD as well. So can you transfer it to his mobile rather than to his thing? You can select. Yes, select. Okay. Absolutely. Okay, and the licensing. Sorry, I'll make it very quick. The licensing for the attendant console, I didn't understand what you said. Did you say just the agent, the attendant console receptionist needs a license, or does everybody in the company needs a license? I didn't understand what you said.
Sorry, it was just agents, so just operators that need to log in. Not
okay, that person. Yeah. Okay, great. Sorry, I think that's my questions quickly. I'm gonna come back later if everybody runs out of questions.
That was very efficient, Ali. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Ali, you made up for everyone, I think, possibly.
I might just jump in quickly. Do you guys possibly have a timing on the roadmap for Australian-based data centers?
So for the environment to be hosted in Australia, that's most likely due within the next 2 months, as I've understood it now. When it comes to hosting your own data, the data is actually hosted in your own SQL database that we encourage you to set up in Azure. Azure already has a number of locations in Australia, so you can already host data in Australia yourselves from day one.
Awesome, fantastic.
No worries.
Dimitri, did you have a question? I thought we might have seen a hand up.
Yeah, it was actually related to data center. So yeah, that's already answered. Thank you guys for your presentations. Just another quick question on what sort of data do you collect or do you keep in your data center?
So at the moment that the core is disconnected, at that very moment, we automatically transfer all the data from the Anywhere 365 Dialog Cloud to your SQL database. And we then remove automatically all the records from that phone call or from that message from our own data center. So everything is automatically transferred instantly. And we have no further records of that. So that means we are indeed GDPR compliant, and I think that is very much in line or even more stringent than the Australian compliancy when it comes to data security.
Yep, great, thank you. And another question, there was ability of receptionists to add their own notes and create their own contacts. Where those contacts will be stored in, is it do they created in Azure Active Directory or just in their personal space somewhere? Thanks.
So in regards to the attendant console, so the notes and the favorites, for instance, they are stored in our cloud, but we reference a unique reference or a unique ID associating to your Azure AD. So we store the information working from home on a Tuesday, but then it's linked to a code which is identified by the user within Azure AD. So we don't actually store the name of the person that we're storing the note about. And then if an operator does create a personal contact, that is stored within our cloud. So that's something, it is encrypted, it's fully GDPR compliant. We have a data retention policy, but if an operator does create a manual contact or a personal contact, that is stored within our cloud. So you can, if you want to add taxis or florists for local businesses, you can add them to Azure AD as an external number, and then it would automatically be populated, and then we don't store. So if you're concerned about that data being stored within our cloud, there are alternative methods to do that.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions. Thanks a lot for your presentations.
No problems.
Can one agent at Attendant Console share that the list she created with other agents?
So the personal contacts, is that?
Yeah, correct. So they make one receptionist make a personal contact that for taxi stuff that everybody wants to use it, or is there somewhere they can put one that all the Attendant Console receptionists can see it, use it?
Not as a
Yeah.
manual process. So if an attendant creates a personal contact, that cannot be shared. But I think if I refer back to adding the information at the source, so say for instance for Azure AD, if you add that taxi number to Azure AD, everyone would then see it. So that would probably be the best process for adding numbers that you want all operators to be able to see.
Okay, and I noticed in the calendar on the Attendant Console, Lisa, so in order for the receptionist to see what the agency's calendar is free busy for other users, they have to give them authorization to see what they're doing. Otherwise, they just see free busy blackout.
Correct. Yes, it follows the Microsoft sort of permissions there. So you can have either actual data or busy available, depending on preferences and settings.
Great, thank you. Any other questions quickly? If not, I'll probably look to wrap it up, if that's okay.
No, thanks very much. Sorry, thanks for quick answers. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Ali.
No worries.
Okay, if there's no other questions, Gideon and Tim, thank you very much for your time. I think it was really great to see the power of the platform, and hopefully give some people on down here some really great insights into the capability that of Teams calling and what can be done for more features and capabilities that are required.
So, sorry, one question to understand. So if you want to use a cloud, so you had the option for both cloud and in-house version of the product, is that correct?
No, it's all Teams products, I think, are all cloud products. So definitely our product is, or our products are. So this is a cloud-only product.
Okay, because on your website says anywhere $365 cloud and anywhere $365 on-premise. So I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the on-prem is our legacy Skype for Business solution, which obviously we still provide to a lot of customers who are still using Skype for Business. But I think it's fair to say that let's say 99 out of 100 opportunities that we're working on nowadays are Teams focused, and obviously that's cloud. So everything we've seen today is cloud. Yeah.
Cloud, yeah. Now, obviously, I'm interested in cloud anyway, but I just saw that. But my question was, so if it doesn't matter if in Australia we want to use it, is your cloud? There's going to be any performance issue if it's not in cloud Australia? Is it in cloud in Europe or America or somewhere?
No, so we've already got a number of clients in Australia using our ME365 Dialogue Cloud that's hosted in Singapore at the moment. That is going well, and we have no performance issues as it is. Obviously, as mentioned, we are planning to set that up in Australia to also be able to comply with some government regulations and be able to provide our service to local councils and any government bodies. So that's the main reason. It's not a performance issue.
Any timeline?
Within the next 2 months.
Fantastic. That early. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Great stuff. Thank you, everyone, again. I hope that was good. And one more thanks to Tim and Gideon. Really appreciate your time. I know it's quite early on in your part of the world, so
no problem.
That's all good. Thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity, John, and everybody who's interested. Please do reach out to the good people at Enablis, and we'll be happy to take on any further conversations through them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Gideon. Yeah, just to reinforce that, please get in touch. We're very happy to set up a bigger deep dive into specific aspects for yourselves if you require. So with that, I'll close the session. Thanks very much, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, guys.